Ladies and gentlemen, friends and members of the Conservancy of Southwest Florida, welcome to our 57th annual members meeting. Before we get started, however, I was reminded today that it was almost exactly a year ago that COVID had its first victim here in the United States. Today, we learn that there are now 400,000 people who have passed away because of the virus, and I ask that you join me in a brief moment of silence to remember those whom you may have known and who you may not have known, but who have suffered from this terrible pandemic. Thank you. And thank you for taking the time tonight to be here virtually this evening and for your continued commitment to the essential mission to protect Southwest Florida's water, land, wildlife, and future. Let me start by thanking our presenting sponsor for tonight, LFE Capital. That's led by our board member, Leslie Freecon. Many, many thanks, Leslie. And to our supporting sponsors, Gulf Shore Insurance and William Ravis Real Estate. Thanks to both of you. Believe it or not, we really are well into our fifth decade as the leading environmental or protection organization in our area. We've welcomed new friends and supporters to the Conservancy this past year, as well as worked with our longtime supporters who believe, as we all do, in the pursuit of common sense, science-based planning and conservation. Your Conservancy has made tremendous progress this year in a year unlike any other. And just to highlight a few of our accomplishments, about which you'll hear more from Rob later in the program. Last March, under the wonderful leadership of Chair Carol DiNardo and Vice Chair Katrina Lundmark-Cash, we celebrated the 16th annual Magic Under the Mangroves Gala on campus in our famous tent. It was a great evening, happening just before life changed for all of us. Fortunately, we raised $1.6 million in support of our programs. This year, however, will be different, with an exciting virtual Magic Gala on March 4th. Please visit our website under events, and we hope that you'll become a patron and take a look at our online auction, which is already up and running. Thank you to Katrina, our event chair this year, and Carol Walter, our event vice chair, for your inspired leadership in putting together such an exciting one-hour-long event. You'll all want to say you were there. Please join us. While our campus had to be closed this past year, we took the time to start on the expansion of the Susan and William Dalton Discovery Center. That is in fact underway now. This features the new John and Carol Walter Discovery Wing with dramatic new exhibits on invasive species and lots more. We also started the expansion of the Shotwell Wavering Family Filter Marsh, as well as finalizing our plans for a new, and financing, didn't we? As well as financing and finalizing our plans for a new on-campus replacement dormitory. We also hosted our first virtual red snook catch and release fishing tournament. Remarkably, it exceeded revenue goals and netted over $47,000 to support our efforts to protect our water sources. Thank you to our event chairs, Hanley Shotwell and Moki Shea, for leading the charge on our first virtual fishing tournament featuring live fish. None of this could have happened without the generous investment that you, our supporters and members, continue to provide. Your help enables the Conservancy to continue as a region-wide leader in protecting our quality of life now and for future generations. Yes, your Conservancy is strong, but meeting future challenges also depends on you. On behalf of the Conservancy's board and our staff, thank you again for your sustained support. We look forward to another successful year together. Let me now recognize our board treasurer, John Walter, and Victoria Pollock, our CFO, and all of our Finance Committee members for their commitment dealing with a very challenging last fiscal year, as well as planning for this fiscal year. We have a few slides that quickly show our total year operating performance in both income and expenses. These slides are available on our website if you'd like to study them further. The first is income by source. Please notice the largest categories, contributions, grants, memberships, and special events. These four categories together represent almost 99% of our total income, given by more than 6,000 supporters of the Conservancy. Next, expense by function, which shows that over 80% of every dollar raised goes towards our programs, our many efforts to protect Southwest Florida's water, land, wildlife, and future. Then the slide by program services shows how programmatic dollars are spent throughout our four core areas of environmental education, science, policy, and wildlife rehabilitation. It's a remarkable balance, and I assure you it is expertly staffed. Last, this slide, Special Projects, highlights our fundraising success, which really was extraordinary. From gifts, grants, and bequests, we raised an incredible total of over $9 million last year. And we have some more good news. Your Conservancy has received a 4-star rating, the highest possible from Charity Navigator. They recognized our strong financial health, our commitment to accountability and transparency, and our adherence to industry best management practices. Only about 1/4 of rated charities achieve this distinction, and in the state of Florida, the Conservancy is currently the only conservation organization involved in policy, education, and research that has achieved this high standard of excellence. In addition, we maintained our platinum rating from GuideStar, another important national charity rating service. You can trust where your contributions are going. You know, it's not enough just to have good finances and a great staff, but we'd be lost without our volunteers. They're the lifeblood of the Conservancy. Our volunteers donate a huge number of hours of their time and their talent to our work. They support our award-winning Nature Center, including off-site boating and kayak tours, provide hands-on wildlife rehabilitation care, are docents for our Discovery Center, and they work tirelessly to ensure that our mission can continue with both energy and enthusiasm. We could not do it without them. And for those of you who are present at this meeting, I want to say we miss you all, and we look forward to your return to campus soon. And frankly, for the finance mavens in the audience, our audited statements are being prepared and should be ready in the next few weeks. They will be available on our website or may be requested from our finance office. As always at our annual meeting, we celebrate and say thank you to members retiring from the board. Tonight we first recognize Phil Gresh, who is passionate about wildlife and concerned about invasive species, including the Burmese python. In his time on the board, Phil has served as chair of the Governance Committee, chair of the Environmental Affairs Committee, and in this past year, vice chair of the Executive Committee and vice chair of the board. Thank you, Phil, for your tireless service to our board. Next, I recognize Wayne Meelan. Wayne has actually been the driving force behind the Red Snook Charity Catch and Release Tournament for 13 years. As a passionate angler, he understands the importance of clean water for both a healthy ecosystem and our economy. He's been a valued member of our board committees, and expanded the tournament reach over the years. Wayne, you now have a little bit more time to spend fishing, and frankly, I hope you enjoy it. Finally, we thank Mayella Ross for her role on the board. Mayella championed our goal to further the Conservancy's mission more broadly. She supported our work through a groundbreaking partnership with the Latinos in Univision. Mayella is a leader in our community, and she understood the importance of our work and our mission, and she worked to ensure that our message reached new audiences within our community. Thanks so much, Mayella. We'll miss you. We turn now to the re-election of our board members who have agreed to serve a second 4-year term. This includes John Hall, who has served on more committees and attended more meetings than I could even dare to count. Plus, by faithfully scrutinizing the Wall Street Journal, he keeps us up to date on happenings in the oil and gas industry that would be useful information for the Conservancy. We're looking forward to 4 more years of your expertise, John, and please don't drop your subscription to the Journal. And then John Walter, who's taken the lead on so many fronts in his first term, including serving as our treasurer this past year, and I'm happy to say that he will continue in that role this coming year. I'm happy also to say that we have a slate of 4 new candidates to be elected to the board for a 4-year term. It is my pleasure to introduce you to each of them. First, Nancy Anthony. Nancy is chair of Fernwood Counsel, LLC, a family office, but she also serves as an independent advisor for another family trust. She's been in the investment management business for 38 years, as well as being active with numerous educational, medic, and other civic institutions in the greater Boston area. She's passionate about growth management, knowing the importance of protecting natural habitats for native wildlife, protecting water, and ensuring that the ecology of Southwest Florida is protected for generations to come. Next, Pam Brown. Pam is a lifelong resident of Immokalee, a new area for one of our board representatives to be from. Pam's personal mission is to foster best practices and sensible approaches to Collier County's growth that promotes stewardship of South Florida's unique environment. Her 30-year commitment to civic service began with an appointment to the Immokalee Water and Sewer District Board of Commissioners by former Governor Bob Graham, a position she held for 12 years. She'll add a valuable dimension to our board's talents. Leslie Freecon. Prior to founding LFE Capital, Leslie was a senior vice president for corporate finance for General Mills, a global consumer foods company, as you know. In that position, she was responsible for the treasury, corporate development, and risk management functions, as well as a member of the senior executive team working on operating management strategies and executive growth strategies. Leslie is passionate about wildlife, but she's also very interested in the financial stability of the Conservancy and is a great advocate for best business practices. She has been a long-time volunteer on our Finance Committee, and we appointed her to our board last year, but now with your vote, she will become officially a member of this year's class of trustees. And finally, Tom Watkins. Tom is a former pharmaceutical and biotechnology company executive and now serves on several corporate and nonprofit boards. He's a strong supporter of the Conservancy's mission. He's particularly passionate about the challenges of ensuring clean water for all of the residents of Southwest Florida and the related issue of controlling the growth of development in our surrounding areas. He, too, will bring fresh talent and new perspectives to the board. And now I would like to ask you, our members present, to approve the slate of directors as presented. All in favor of the slate will find a box with a voting button on the right-hand side of your screen. Please select yes so we can tally your votes. How long do you think I should go? The trend is clear. I think we have a new slate of board members, and we should be very grateful for that. Thank you for your attention. I would now like to turn the electronic podium over to our President and CEO, Rob Moher. But before turning him loose, I have a few comments I want to make. I would say this past year, Rob demonstrated among the best executive management skills that I've ever seen. And I would say that is true for both a nonprofit organization and also for even a business. The challenge that the virus and the ensuing developments that had a huge impact on our finances, ultimately on our staff, and on our programs could not be underestimated. Rob's leadership was simply superb. He gathered the staff, he made them participants in the team decisions, he worked his way through getting last year in full financial order at the end of the year, and then developed a budget for the coming year that reflected an unusual skill in maintaining the stability and the mission of the Conservancy. I can't say enough about him because a lot of those $9 million that you saw were directly his responsibility for reaching out to donors, even in the midst of our pandemic, to try to make sure that they understood that the Conservancy's mission was a continuing one and that new opportunities needed to be seized as quickly as they could. I couldn't be more proud of him, and I couldn't be more proud of the time I've had serving on the board. And so I will now turn the podium over to Rob so he can bring you up to what's happening in the Conservancy with a little bit more detail. Thank you, Rob.
So much, Van. Thank you for those kind words. That's very generous. And as you'll see through all the comments tonight, it takes a team, it takes a village, and we have a great team, and the credit goes to the team. Before I get started with our formal comments tonight, I'm very excited and appreciative of the leadership of the Board of Directors and every board member who believes so strongly and commits so deeply to executing the strategic vision of the Conservancy. So just a quick shout out and thank you and acknowledgement for their leadership. To the outgoing board members who have served, thank you so much, to Mayella, to Phil, and to Wayne. I'd also like to extend an additional personal thanks to Wayne Meelan and to Phil Gresh. I've had the opportunity in particular with those two board members to work very, very closely. In whatever success I've enjoyed in my tenure here as the Conservancy CEO, much of it has to do with the excellence and wisdom provided to me, the problem-solving phone calls late at night, the checking in and bouncing of ideas off of those who had more experience than I. And those two members in particular have been invaluable to me, have been a great guide. And so thank you so much for all your service, and know that we want to keep you involved here at the Conservancy for many years to come. So the theme for tonight is really all about moving our mission forward. That is what unites our board, our volunteers, our intern, and our staff. It is the commitment to excellence despite whatever challenges come our way. I want to also add a special note of thanks to our volunteers, some of whom are working tonight at the Von Arx Wildlife Hospital, some of whom have not been able to come in for their regular shifts. But there is no doubt that those volunteers remain connected and committed to the mission of the Conservancy for the long run, and we're very, very grateful to all of you. As I continue my presentation here tonight, I have the privilege of representing the work of others. And that work is really done by a number of really amazing teams of staff people, supported by interns and volunteers, and guided by our board and our vision. I really want to send a heartfelt thanks out to all the staff of the Conservancy. Thank you for being there. Thank you for giving 110%. Thank you for not letting obstacles stop you from accomplishing your work. To the management team of the Conservancy, some of whom their tenure has extended 25 years, thank you for staying in the thick of it when things got tough. Thank you for the difficult decisions you made. Thank you for believing in the long-term wisdom and strength of the Conservancy. We could not do it without your vision. So, talking about vision, the Conservancy has a vision. It is a focused vision of mission delivery. It is represented here in this graphic titled Vision 2025. I'll be reporting tonight out on some of our progress, challenges, and opportunity related to this vision. The first quadrant is institutional stability and strength, and I will start there. When we talk about institutional stability and strength, we're really talking about not just financial stability so that we can retain our staff and our talented group of interns and volunteers, but we're talking about programmatic excellence, no matter what challenges come our way. It has been a significant year of challenges, as has been said numerous times, but our programs are stronger than they ever have been. They have adapted, they have pivoted, and the people working here have made all that possible. One of the areas where we've seen an alarming trend, I would have to say, is the growth in admissions to the Von Arx Wildlife Hospital. Last year, we had a record number of 3,800 admissions. This year, this most immediate past year, 2020, we finished with over 4,300 animals admitted to the Von Arx Hospital. That is a 15% increase in admissions at a time when COVID-related protocols make treating those animals even more challenging. At a time when we've had to reduce our number of interns being available on site at the hospital. At a time when we can't have as robust a presence of volunteers in the hospital. So we are very grateful to all of the team members, and I really want to send a very big congratulatory thank you to the team at the Von Arx Wildlife Hospital for staying the course through the difficulty for 9 to 10 months already now. And we also want to thank the City of Naples, whom we've worked with to address one of our hotspots, which unfortunately is the beautiful Naples Pier. A lot of the injuries that we see of the animals coming in, particularly pelicans, are preventable injuries. And that is where we must concentrate our efforts, not just on recovering and treating the animals that come to the center, but preventing those injuries from even arriving here in the first place. With red tide off our shores, we have additional pressure on the hospital. So stay tuned and please continue to support the work of the hospital led by Joanne and her team. We try not to use too many acronyms here at the Conservancy, but inevitably we're going to run across a few tonight, which I will unpack for you as briefly as I can. You've probably read in the last 2 weeks about the federal government providing 404 transfer of assumption of wetland permitting to the state of Florida. We were founded as an organization for the protection of wetlands. It was the road to nowhere being proposed from Naples to Marco Island, which was going to destroy what today is Rookery Bay. We need every acre of wetland we can protect in Southwest Florida for water quality treatment, for storage of water to prevent flooding, and for wildlife habitat. The transfer of this protection from the federal to the state government is going to reduce protections right here in Collier County and in Southwest Florida. As a result, we have joined with a number of national and statewide partners to legally challenge the United States Environmental Protection Agency for granting that assumption solely to the state of Florida. We look forward to keeping you posted, but this does go right to the roots of the Conservancy, and we believe an immediate injunction is required to prevent this transfer from occurring so that we may protect our wetlands to the strongest degree possible. Okay, another acronym, HCP. That stands for Habitat Conservation Plan. Sounds pretty good, right? But in fact, this is what we call a mega take permit. You can interpret take for really what it is. It is the killing of endangered species in eastern Collier County. It is a permit required by the landowners in eastern Collier County in order to allow for the development proposed out in those lands. We have never been anti-development as an organization, but what type of development, where should it be located, and how can it ensure the preservation of some of the most endangered species in the United States are very important questions that must be addressed. We will be working tirelessly, if this permit is granted, to oppose the permit, which we expect to be issued any day now or any week. So stay tuned. If that were not enough in terms of challenges to Southwest Florida's eastern lands, we have the proposal to build 3 massive new toll roads, including one right here in Southwest Florida, the Southwest Florida Central Florida Connector. Simply put, MCORS, as it is known, is too expensive. It will fragment critical endangered Florida panther habitat and will degrade water quality. This at a time when the state of Florida is facing a $5 billion shortfall. We simply cannot afford to build roads that are not proven to be needed with any transportation studies. It is a waste of taxpayer resources. We must invest in land acquisition and water quality and wildlife protection, not on projects which have no proven need in the state of Florida. Protecting eastern Collier County is very important to the Conservancy. It is home to some of the endangered species, to an abundance of wildlife, and contributes to our own quality of life. It is for those reasons that when Collier County government approved Rivergrass Village, the Conservancy concluded a 20-year effort to shape responsible development, smart development in eastern Collier County, and inevitably had no other choice but to sue the county for permitting this community. It is the example of poorly planned development and the polar opposite of what is supposed to be happening in eastern Collier County, which is smart, sustainable forms of development. Not taxpayer subsidized development, not development located on sensitive habitat for endangered species, and not development that will contribute massively to additional traffic problems in our county and impacting our quality of life. So stay tuned. The Conservancy is fully committed to seeing this issue to its conclusion. On a more positive front, we have made tremendous progress on Everglades and water policy in the past year, and we're looking forward optimistically to the coming year. We have seen a significant win in helping to pass a legislative outcome for new statewide stormwater standards in Florida. This also has been a decade-long effort. This is very important because this is actually treating pollution on site at the source, not downstream and trying to take the pollution out at taxpayer expense. This is an effort to make development smarter, to stop pollution from moving downstream. And we're looking forward to working on the rules with the state of Florida. We are also very proud to have been part of the efforts to secure historic Everglades funding at the state and federal level, and we will continue to advocate for that. Also, we will be working very hard on the Lake Okeechobee management schedule, which is very important to our water quality, and to ensure that the C43 reservoir and the water quality treatment areas around it secure the necessary benefits for our ecosystem. We are highly committed to Everglades restoration and water quality protection. And talking about progress, pivoting, and success, our education team is a remarkable group of individuals. When we were faced with COVID in March, we had summer camp less than 8 weeks away. So instead of saying maybe we'll take a break this year, we can't have the kids on site, no, the team decided we're going to come up with a completely new plan, execute it from soup to nuts in less than 6 weeks. And that is exactly what they did. They created these fantastic discovery boxes. They delivered programs to kids so they could do environmental education in their own backyards. They have created an entire new e-learning platform in the last 3 months and launched that to help Collier County and Lee County and other students make sure that they can stay connected to our environment and learn about our environment. And they're also working hard on new programs and assets that the Conservancy will soon be deploying in support of public education. So well done. The science team, of course, just as innovative, just as committed as ever. We had a fantastic sea turtle nesting season. The 38th year the Conservancy has been monitoring and protecting sea turtles, the longest running sea turtle monitoring program in the United States. It was completed this year with no interns. Now remember, the interns normally outnumber the staff 2 to 1. So the fact that we had no interns and this monitoring and protection program continued with these successes this year is a testament to the dedication of the science team. It is a testament to the other teams that contributed and supported the science team in accomplishing this. Well done, and thank you. Of course, no annual meeting at the Conservancy would be complete without talking about snakes, and of course, Burmese pythons in particular. The team has done a remarkable job advancing the science and knowledge and filling the gaps of what we don't know about this invasive predator, which is eating its way through the food chain in Southwest Florida and across the southern portion of our state. Our team has developed cutting-edge knowledge, and in fact, we are the only nonprofit invited to the intergovernmental python management team that has the federal, state, tribal, and local governments at the table together. We're proud of the contributions we have made in scientific knowledge, and all of you as members should be proud that you have made this advance possible so we can develop more effective strategies to contain this invasive predator. I'm going to put my construction hat on for this portion of the meeting because we're going to go into what have we been doing at the Nature Center. And the answer is we have been doing a lot of construction. And it's a very, very exciting vision. We call it Nature Center 2.0. This is the next iteration of the Nature Center. We are executing phase 1 projects as we speak. And the picture you see in front of you is a science on a sphere. It is a digital 6-foot wide global Earth where we can connect the global issues to the local and regional issues. It's part of one of the new exhibits we'll be featuring at our expanded and improved Nature Center. So, the Dalton Discovery Center expansion. We are so excited about this. A $4.6 million investment of the Susan and William Dalton Discovery Center. I am so proud of the team, of the donors that have made this vision possible. We will have a whole host of new exhibits. I won't spoil the fun. You'll get to see them firsthand soon enough. We expect to be completed in the mid-spring, hopefully by the end of April, but it'll include the new John and Carol Walter Discovery Wing, which has 2 all-new galleries to interpret our work to the public. So thank you so much, all the donors who have made this possible. We're also expanding our filter marsh so we can double the amount of treatment of water on site at the Conservancy. And we're very, very grateful and excited about this. And it is a tremendous opportunity to clean even more water and to contribute towards solutions on the water quality issues in our own backyard. Sustainability also spreads to how we generate our own energy and how we are a sustainable organization. We are adding this week, next week, and over the upcoming weeks, 537 additional solar panels on the rooftops at the Conservancy, thanks to a very generous grant of $600,000 from the Martin Foundation. This will result in cutting our energy bill by 20% and will also reduce our carbon footprint significantly. We're very, very grateful and very excited about this initiative. And when we talk about dreams coming true, I have to say, this is probably one of the largest dreams for the Conservancy to come true this year. And that is the completing of fundraising and the reality that we'll soon break ground on the Environmental Studies Dormitory. The original dormitory gifted by Mrs. Dorothy Blair has taken a lot of hits and a lot of hurricanes and is starting to fall apart. Our interns are so important to our work. And thanks to a very, very generous leadership gift from Jeannie and Christopher Smith, they helped complete the drive to completely fund this $9 million project. We will be breaking ground in the spring. We will keep you posted and we'll celebrate everyone that has helped make this dream a vision to reality. So thank you for helping across that milestone this year. Speaking of the Nature Center and the status of the Nature Center, I'm very excited to share with you that construction should be, for the public portions of our program, should be fundamentally complete by early May. And we hope to allow all of our members and supporters in small groups, socially distanced and appropriately protected, to get to enjoy the new exhibits and experiences first. We are looking forward to what we hope will be a fall 21 public opening of the Nature Center. So stay tuned as conditions allow. That is what we hope for, but I can assure you that our members and our supporters will be the first to get to enjoy these new exhibits. Climate change affects every facet of the Conservancy's mission, and it affects our community. That is why, after deep thought, we have decided to embark in the last 2 years on the Growing Climate Solutions endeavor in partnership with the Community Foundation of Collier County, the Southwest Florida Community Foundation, Florida Gulf Coast University, and with Eco America as our national partner. We are very excited to focus on engagement and education. We feel there's a lot of information that we can get out in a responsible manner and engage every facet of our community. Because at the end of the day, climate change is about protecting our community from these threats from a changing climate. We're also working vigorously with Florida Gulf Coast University to encourage every government in Southwest Florida to join the Southwest Florida Regional Resiliency Compact, which is being led by FGCU and which we are supporting. So stay tuned for more on that. We are a regional organization because panthers don't stop at the county line. Neither does pollution stop flowing along the coast. We're very excited to strengthen our regionalism through a number of initiatives, including our new mobile classroom. I could go on about this, but suffice it to say, we are going to be reaching hundreds, if not thousands, of additional students in hard-to-reach areas thanks to this wonderful new asset, which was fully funded in terms of the construction at Magic Under the Mangroves. So never doubt that your power and your philanthropy has a terrific impact. It does. We have additional regional efforts underway, probably the most significant being our role in leading, co-chairing the Everglades Coalition, the largest and most successful environmental coalition in the United States about a single ecosystem. We're so proud of Marissa Caruso, who once again has been re-elected as co-chair of the Everglades Coalition, putting the Conservancy at the center of advocating for Everglades restoration. We also have a number of other initiatives happening along education with the FGCU Water School and with the South Florida Water Management District. We thank our partners locally. We also really want to send a shout out to the Naples Zoo and to Rookery Bay, who have been terrific partners and we continue to work very closely with. Now, the next part of our program, the Eagle Award. As you know, the Eagle Award is the highest award we present annually to an individual, a group, or an organization that has advanced the mission of the Conservancy in a significant way. For 2021, we are very, very excited to recognize our award winner. Having the opportunity over my leadership years to interact with a lot of public officials, I would have to say it is a rarity that you meet someone of the quality of tonight's winner. Someone who, on his first day in office, knows more than most people on the environmental front when they leave the office. Someone who makes a commitment in a campaign and follow through and uses all their downtime to advance and accelerate Everglades restoration, to bring federal resources to bear on our water quality challenges in our region. Someone who's willing to bring the science to the floor of the House and talk about the realities of climate change in a difficult time. So let's take a look at this year's award winner. one of the things that always impressed me with your leadership is I remember when you were first elected to office, you made promises that you would focus on the water quality issues. You really carried those through. And in our first meeting, it was clear you had a stronger grasp on the estuaries, the role of the water, and how the water moved than most elected officials held 4 years after their term of service. So that was impressive.
The problem with it is it's complicated. You know, it's ecosystems, it's plants, it's animal life, bird life, and you got a lot of factors to put together to realize how important these water and mangrove-based estuaries are. Once people get it and they come down and see it, or they see pictures, then they become, you know, a little more attuned.
So we know what we're fighting for. Every acre of mangrove matters. Every water quality that we're out of range is something that we have to fight for.
Well, first of all, when I found out that we'd been getting a paltry $30 million a year for years since the SERP was passed to try to build out these multi-billion-dollar projects, that money would barely pay for the engineering. So I set out to do the best I could to unify the Florida delegation around the Everglades and to raise the bar to get up into some serious money where we could get some of these projects that you've been pushing for so long funded. And now I think we've made some pretty good headway there. We got a couple $2 billion in 4 years, and we're on a path to get a couple $100 million more every year, which should keep the ball rolling while we build out A2, and, like you say, the C-111 canal, the canal changes down at the into the park south of A2. Those are really important things to get accomplished.
When you reflect on your years of service and the change and the improvement in funding for Everglades restoration projects and to help with the water quality issues, what are the 1 or 2 key accomplishments that you're going to look back on and think these are really going to be very lasting contributions? We've talked about the funding levels, critically important to sustain Everglades projects. What are some other things that you think are going to be very important in terms of impact on the region long term?
Well, in addition to getting the money to keep the ball rolling, I think that some of our efforts have worked to increase awareness and understanding of how critical the environment is in Florida, how all Floridians of all political persuasions are true environmentalists because they care about the quality of life here. And that's a very important argument to make when other issues come up, like offshore drilling or like estuary nourishment or beach sand renourishment, things like that.
So Francis, what would you recommend for people that are concerned about the water that want to continue public involvement? What direction would you give them? What works when you're a congressman sitting in that office? What type of voices really rise to the top, in your opinion?
Well, as you know, being a professional at it, citizen engagement is the best way to drive policy. And I think that the people that care about the environment, members of the Conservancy and SCCF and things like that, should write op-eds, write their congressman, call on the congressman, which I know that people from our area have been very good at. I think that it's very important to look at the example of the back pumping, that when the citizens rose up, Sugar had to stop back pumping. And I think there's a lot more things that citizens can get accomplished if they work together.
Francis, if there were a couple of issues that you would advise residents of Southwest Florida to keep an eye on, both positive and particularly challenges that may threaten water quality in the next few years, what would you have them really focus on?
Well, I think one is the offshore water quality, the harmful algae blooms, the impact of the red tide, the dead zone that we have growing out there. You know, we gave one of those reefs. We gave the reef that's 29 miles out off of Marco Pass. And I had a friend dive it, and it was hypoxic at 71 feet deep. That's like Louisiana or the Black Sea. We have a lot of work to do to end those dead zones. The other thing is, one thing that ought to keep us all up at night is Miami. Miami would love to get their hands on our Everglades water.
So those are important things for residents of Southwest Florida to keep an eye on. I think sometimes we think the East Coast is the East Coast and the West, and there's somehow a false separation. But what you're explaining is that these water resources cross these boundaries, and we have to fight and protect those water resources.
Our Everglades start at Sweetwater. Yeah.
In terms of climate change and its impact on our community, you've been a very powerful and important voice within the Republican Party for advocating for the science behind climate change, the challenges of the Gulf of Mexico, particularly the deep waters getting warmer and warmer. What do you think is the road forward for managing the impacts of climate change and how to begin mitigating it? How is this region going to deal with this?
Well, you're right. The deep ocean heat content is almost an existential problem for a coastal state. And I don't know what we can do about that now, other than stop putting CO2 in the atmosphere. In maybe 20 years, it would go down. But we can prepare with resiliency measures to deal with the higher tides, higher waves, and problems that we're going to face like Hurricane Mike. And the military is trying to do that on their own, because unlike a lot of ideologues, they don't have the luxury of not solving the problem. They have to raise their airfields, put up resiliency measures, and be ready to keep their bases in action. And I think we're going to need to do that in our towns. And we have a great group here in Collier County with Dr. Savarese and you all, people that have come together to create a resiliency task force.
Absolutely. In your time in office, we saw a major pivot about the environment, and that was understanding the public health concerns. You were very involved in trying to leverage more federal resources to bring to bear on understanding the impacts on people, on fishing guides, and people spend a lot of time in the water. Can you reflect a little bit on the importance of that effort and where that might move moving forward?
Sure. Well, the harmful algae blooms were a big surprise to everybody. You know, they started out small back in 2016, and then they continued to grow in a bad way. And so one of the things that we did, we held a series of harmful algae bloom conferences, one of which you were kind enough to host right here.
That's correct.
Where we brought in federal government experts, state of Florida experts, Ron DeSantis showed up, where we could have a roundtable about the measures that our community can take to deal with these problems. And that's where we engaged the CDC, the EPA, the National Institutes of Health, the state of Florida agencies, both health and environment, to help us in this community.
And as we conclude here, what message would you give to the members of the Conservancy, those people that pay their dues, that join this organization? What thoughts or suggestions might you have for them about the importance of being affiliated with an organization such as ours?
Well, first of all, it is critically important that there are people like your board members and your staff and your supporters. Without them, we would have no environmental movement here. One person can't do it. It needs the community behind it. And SCCF and the Conservancy are the crucibles for organizing community discussion, community forces. And that's very important. Politics is just nothing but the community influencing the politicians.
Thank you. And we're so honored to be able to provide you this award this year, the Eagle Award, which, as you know, is the highest award the Conservancy presents annually. And any reflections as you are concluding your term of public service on this award, the Eagle Award, being both the emblem of the mission of the Conservancy, but also representing just a recognition for your leadership, and any thoughts about how you feel about the recognition from the members and the board and the Conservancy for your work?
Well, I can't thank you enough for what it means a great deal to me to be recognized by such influential leaders in this community and such an influential institution as the Conservancy. And there's nothing more important to me than seeing your continued success and the continued success of your board and your donors. And look forward to working together to make sure that happens.
Absolutely. Thank you for your leadership. Well, it's an honor to present you officially and formally with the Eagle Award. This was an award that was presented to us, a photo presented to us from Dennis Goodman, who is one of our volunteers. He's a local photographer, and it is inscribed with the words Conservancy of Southwest Florida 2021 Eagle Award winner, former Congressman Ambassador Francis Rooney. We are so honored that you're receiving this award, and thank you for all your service to Southwest Florida.
Well, thank you very much. This is a real honor. And I guess that eagle that sits in front of on top of the cypress tree in the past can stay now that we stopped that dock project a few years ago.
Every eagle nest is worth keeping.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Congratulations, and thank you again. Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview with former Congressman and Ambassador Francis Rooney. And again, congratulations, Francis, on your terrific contributions. And we are very deeply appreciative for your leadership. In conclusion for tonight's meeting, I just wanted to thank again our sponsors, LFE Capital, Gulf Shore Insurance, and William Ravis. We have a terrific number of corporate partners that allow us to put these types of programs on so that all your dollars can go directly into the mission. Just coming up, there are a lot of exciting events. Just a few reminders, the virtual Everglades Coalition Conference. You can sign up for this at the Everglades Conference or through the Conservancy. We have a number of virtual evenings at the Conservancy. The ever popular evenings are back. They are continuing. You can see the dates here. And as Van already mentioned, the virtual Magic Under the Mangroves, where anyone can participate, already up, the portal's already up to do Fund a Need and silent auction items, which will add to the support required to carry forward on all the work that you saw today. So as our meeting concludes, I just want to remind the Board of Directors that we'll be having a brief meeting following this meeting using your separate link on your computer. So we'll be doing that in about 2 minutes. And a special thank you to everyone that dialed in tonight or who will be watching this video. You, the members and the Conservancy supporters, are making great things happen because you believe. We thank you for your support. We honor that support. And we hope tonight we've shown you what we've been able to accomplish with your support and where we are moving. So thank you and have a great evening. Take care.